Big week in the Six Nations. England win ugly. France turn on the style. And Wales, the Dragon, may have some fire left yet. I think England fans have been really starved of days where you think that is a really, really good day to be an England fan.
We can't tell a fan what it's like. You're blowing out your arse. You're literally fighting for breath.
How dangerous are Wales?
If I was Bauthers, I wouldn't extend the rental on the house. So, is there any way England can win it?
We've got to score a load of points.
And we're losing.
And we lose. We go back to the exciting performance, but lost.
Yeah.
Into the final moments, Alex Payne trying to keep this side going forward. Haskell takes it on now with just relentless chat, largely about himself. And there's Tyndall to add the finishing touch of glamour and World Cup winning stories. That is how you podcast.
Hello, Dream Team. Welcome along to this week's episode of The Good, the Bad and the Rugby, proudly sponsored by Continental Tyres, our go-to for premium tyres. At Continental, safety, performance and grip are the name of the game. The complete opposite of this unpredictable show. We're never quite sure how the journey will unfold. So once again, buckle up and just enjoy the ride. It has been another big week in the Six Nations. England win ugly. France turn on the style. And Wales, well, let's just say that the Dragon may have some fire left yet. Before we get underway, if you don't already do so, please do hit subscribe, turn on the notifications, and don't forget to drop your thoughts in the comments. You're laughing, and we're not even going to get into why you're laughing because it's not required. You two have come dressed as a Purcell ad today.
Why
are you both wearing Purcell
Grant
white
and Phil
t-shirts?
Mitchell.
Yeah.
Grant and Phil Mitchell.
Don't know.
Totally identical.
Pure chance.
Yeah, we do. We look like
I don't,
Jean Paul
however,
Gaultier advert.
have some ridiculous.
Remember Jean Paul Gaultier?
Of course I remember Jean Paul Gaultier. I
A
wouldn't
couple
say
of
that.
sailors' hats and we'd be absolutely at home.
That is very true.
Kissing, just what was that fragrance with the blue bottle? What was it called?
The weekend's rubbed off on you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Saturday.
That's a lock-in.
That is another story
That's
for
a
another
knock-in. Chicken licking. So, lots to get into this week. Another meaty weekend in the Guinness Six Nations.
Meaty.
With talking points aplenty. I'm going to throw it open to you, Michael,
Oh, really?
with a very simple question. England, step forward, step back, not stepping very far at all.
Step forward, step back, not stepping very far at all. I would go with the
Hopping
last,
on the spot.
the last one.
Hopping on the spot.
So I think everyone's you can always critique a performance and without doubt, England won't be happy. They will think their attack game was very, very toothless. They didn't have much ball. They had a lot of pressure on them. But for a long period of the last year, we have been saying, God, we put a performance in and managed to lose a game we should have won. Whereas, as you said, but he projected, we managed to win a game that we should have lost. And I think that was down to tenacity around defensively in our own 22, turnovers at key points of the game. But we also put ourselves under that pressure. Again, edge defences. I'm not sure, why poor Alex Mitchell keeps getting the biggest winger to try and defend one-on-one. But
They went looking for him, Scotland, didn't they?
Well, I think obviously after that Ireland game, you would look at that shape and go, well, if I'm going to get Duan van der Merwe against Alex Mitchell, then I'm going to throw it straight there. That was a 5-man line out. They just pinged it across the front of the forwards and got it to him as quickly as possible and allowed him to cause mayhem, which he did. Things that they have to look at. A lot of people will scream that there was too many box kicks. Technically, there was
a lot of people.
I think they're still a team that when the pressure's on, they go back to structure. Now, that's something that they've got to work on and having confidence that even when they are under pressure, to still be able to play. And they don't have that yet. My biggest, would it be a criticism? It probably is a criticism, is you look at what are Ireland's assets. James Lowe, Hugo Keenan, Bundy, as well as their forwards, but they find ways to get them all in the game. Scotland, their back three, Blair Kinghorn, Rowe, Duan, Hugh Jones, they see them as their greatest assets, so they make sure they try and do things that give them the best chance to get in the game and succeed. I think on Saturday, Tommy Freeman probably touched the ball 3 times, scored one of them, had very few meters. I think Slightholme had 0 carries or 0 meters, but made a lot of tackles. So it just shows that we don't find ways of getting our players into the game. in a place where they want the ball at the time, and that is something that they have to develop. I know you're going to go, oh, Mr. Grumpy or Mr.
I'm not going Mr. Grumpy at all. You've gone through loads of detail and lots of ifs and buts. Give me your emotional response to what you saw.
Oh, so I watched it. I thought it was a hell of a Calcutta game, and I was generally shouting with happiness at the TV. I was frustrated, screaming at times. There were definitely times where I was like, why are we slowing the ball down? But also, I also understand the pressure that they were under and how, they were everyone said, oh, they'll be lucky that they've come off the field as close the score line it was at half time. It was great defensive pressure at the time, but then that also builds pressure into your attack, which I don't think this team's developed yet, is how you still play a style of attacking rugby whilst you're under that pressure. I feel that in their heads they were like, they just want the ball away from their line.
Yeah.
But as you said, that a lot of the time will bring more pressure back at you, because that is Scotland's greatest strength, is their back three.
Okay.
So you've got to find a way. They almost had to play their way out of pressure, but that's not what this team does yet.
What both of you, and you've been very consistent about it since we've been doing this show, is you're never quite as good as they say you are, and you're definitely never as bad as they say you are. And there are lots of other pods out there which are available to be clicked on if you want to go a bit more dramatic and clickbait. But what we're going to get into is that you're both very reasoned and level, but there are lots of people who are really kind of like agitated about it now.
And
I love that they're agitated by games where we win.
Yes.
It's like, yes, obviously we've watched England play well and lost.
Yes.
We've had this discussion about how long do England get playing performances, then lose lose it in the last 20 minutes of the game. Well, we've had back-to-back ones where we've both won. Arguably, there are games we shouldn't have won.
Yeah.
But you're not going to take those as wins goes. They needed to win that game to back up a performance. They'll be hard on themselves, I would have thought, this week about the detail of stuff that they messed up and how they didn't manage to impose their game whatsoever. But they'll go on it. But still, we can, off that basis, we can still win games even when we don't perform. So let's go into Italy. Let's go into Wales. Going right, we've got 2 games where we can go and attack and actually should win this. So let's go out there and make sure we do win them.
So we had Henry Slade, Harry Randall, and Alex Mitchell come into our live room. To sort of
post-match,
and we asked them, straight off the pitch.
All 3 of them took a pint and took it quick. Thirsty work.
Yeah, Slade was very thirsty. And we were talking about that exact quote, saying that actually, look, we won, quite narrowly, and it could have gone either way, and there were quite a few mistakes. But Henry Slade pointed out that forcing errors, for example, against France, or whether it's self-inflicted errors, is often through pressure. Now, whether that's pressure you see, pressure that's intangible. Against Scotland, for example, to still be in the game, there was a lot of effort and people doing good things. Was it always pretty? No. I think that, to understand, to win those games, it requires a hell of an amount of effort and nothing's given. So I think you've got to praise some respect onto the team to be able to be in that position. Now, I know, Finn Russell came down and missed that kick. He often gets them, but again, everyone's feeling pressure on that day, and that's a pressure created by competition. So I was disappointed at times with England, because in the first half defensively, I feel like they are exposed and soft at times. Defence should be a non-negotiable. Tackle rate shouldn't be. Missed tackles shouldn't be where they're at. So I think that is an issue. People get very irate and angry because they care about sports, and for them it is an escapism from their normal reality. They don't necessarily always understand what they're seeing, and I don't always think that, like I said, with the kicking thing, the stats don't often always marry up with the picture that you're seeing on TV. We've come off games where I have seen things, albeit not sitting on my home sofa watching a game, and we've come out and painted a picture, and actually then you look back at the stats and gone, the difference between the side was 3 lost scrums, against the head, or it was 1 turnover or 5 extra penalties to one side. So it's not as bad as it is.
To flip it around, the Ireland-Wales game was very similar. Ireland kicked the ball more than England did in that game. Wales kicked it less. Wales had more meters. Wales beat more defenders, made more line breaks, but they lost the game. So sometimes, and as someone put on the Smutby group, it was a great South African win. Where you sometimes don't have the ball, but you get things done.
Yep.
And that in itself can be seen as a positive. Now, you also don't hide away from the fact that you've got to at some point impose your your attack game on them at some point, which they didn't do, and that's something for them to go away with. But I struggle to understand. I thought as an emotional roller coaster of a Calcutta game, a cup game, it was one of the best that I've watched in ages.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes because it's not perfect, but as from a fan point of view, I know I was shouting at the end, going, not that you should be cheering when Finn misses, but. Because we'd actually finally got a win and got the cup back for the first time in 4 or 5 years or whatever it is. So, I think people don't overlook into it. It's a contest that the person with the most amount of points comes away with the win, and we did it. Whether yes, you can look back at it and go, it needs to be better. Everyone within that England camp will say it needs to be better. But they've won back-to-back games now. They've got the possibility to win 4 on a bounce. Yes, the performance will have to lift again, but I would prefer, do you go back to saying, well, at least they're winning and I prefer to see them winning, or go back to putting a performance in and losing the last 20 minutes?
So my theory on this, and I've thought about it, because it's very interesting listening to the two of you talk. You are very reasoned. You have been there, you've done it, and every week it's patience, essentially. I think the reason England fans booed on Saturday, and it is not anything to do with the players on the park. It is a collective around English rugby in inverted commas at the moment. It is reading about what's going on backstage. It's the state of the grassroots game. And I think fundamentally, when it comes to what is on the pitch at Twickenham, lots of data points. If you divide results into played really well and won, played really well and lost, played badly and won, and played badly and lost, and what you really want as a fan is every so often to have played really well and won. I think, and Steve Borthwick's had 31 games now, I think he's had one game in which it's played really well and won. And that is that win against Ireland with the drop goal from Marcus Smith 12 months ago. France was incredibly exciting, and Elliot Daly's try is a moment for the fans to savour. But you don't come off that thinking this is a team that is really something that is on a journey here. They have picked up. The World Cup was scrambled through. I mean, we beat Samoa by a point, and I think England fans have been really starved of days where you think that is a really, really good day to be an England fan.
I don't disagree with you.
And that, it tails into the back end of Eddie Jones as well. I mean, really, if you're thinking about statement England performances where you think, shit, this is a hell of a team, you're going back to the 2019 semi-final when we took apart the All Blacks, and you're probably going back to Dublin at the opening game of the 2019 Six Nations. And that is why I think England fans are just fed up with watching the team play brilliantly, as they did at times in the autumn, but blow it, and play really badly. Well, really badly is too strong, but scramble to a win over Scotland.
The penance of being a fan, isn't it?
Yeah,
because
I think that's why
though.
there is a genuine sort of groundswell of when is it going to be a performance?
It's not going to be for a while.
But also I think that England miss opportunity, and this is something they have to learn. Is yes, structure's all great, and I've said this for quite a long time now. They are handcuffed by structure, because they have to get into, they miss offloads because of it. Now, if you look at France on the weekend,
we're 2 years into the Steve Borthwick tenure.
Yeah, but this is how he is. They don't have that license, or they don't have that flexibility within their structure, that if the ball is there and ready to play, it shouldn't matter if your nine's not there. You could get any forward to move it, because as long as the defence is still going backwards, it's so much easier to make gain line. But we always stick to trying to pull people out of the line by using that two forward, diamond, whatever anyone wants to call it, sort of structure. But then that takes our centres sort of out the game, because all they're worried about is where they need to be for when that happens. And I think we miss opportunities because of that. I think we're not clinical enough. I think on that break before half time, we should have finished that off. I think Marcus Smith should finish that off, throw it just over the top to Tommy Freeman, who walks it in the corner. Or he could have, once he'd bounced back, he could continue to the inside and have Ben Earl, because he could smoke the guy coming back to cover him, do an offload. We miss offloads. That's the biggest thing that England fail to do at the moment, is their offloading game. You look at Wales on the weekend, they completely changed that around and caused all sorts of problems for Ireland, more line breaks than Ireland, made more meters than Ireland. But, again, because they haven't played in that, they're not used to doing it.
Yeah.
You end up getting that least of turnovers, because you're just not used to playing that sort of rugby. But at least everyone will never complain about Wales, because they'll say, well, at least they had a crack. And I think that is something that in a game where we're starved of ball, that then when you do have ball, you get rid of it and you try and set it all back off your defence again, but you never seem to get it back. That's where the frustration comes from. And I get it and I understand it, but when you're living in it as a player, you're just thinking about survival, and you feel that pressure. And it's so easy
that,
to say.
I think, is the essence of what we're talking about here. And I completely understand it from your point of view. What I'm seeing from the collective of the press and the fans is that England are a bit like the heavyweight boxer who wins with the jab, or they're like the centre forward that plays with their back to goal, or they're like the tennis player that only has an ace. What you want is box office. You want something where you come out and you go, holy shit, that is a very, very special performance and team and result. And what you've just said there is that actually England had all the ingredients to really go after Scotland this weekend. And that, they've beaten France last gasp. They got a massive groundswell of positivity behind them. They've got a home game, having lost the last four. All the sort of emotional motivation is there. And yet they came out and it looked, as you said, like they were sort of playing within themselves.
Yeah, because
they
just didn't have any ball in that first half.
And Scotland put a lot of pressure on.
No, we can't tell a fan what it's like when you are just getting wave after of attack, and you're defending
and getting line break.
You're blowing out your arse. You're literally fighting for breath as well as to get back in line, to then get off the line again, go make a hit, get up. You're like, probably half the forwards are going, fucking Mitch, just fucking whack it.
Yeah.
Because they want just a little bit of relief where they're running downfield.
Because we got cut up a lot. If you remember, Hugh Jones went through a couple of times. There was, Doohan went through. Like, we got cut up pretty badly. There's a lot. I don't know how many line breaks. Old Stats Tyndall can have a look at it. But we got
11. I think.
11 line breaks. But when you're trying to scramble, especially when you've got blitz defence as well, where blitz defence relies on your ability to get around the corner very quickly, hit people on and behind the gain line to give you a chance to reset. If you are cut open, you've got to shift it back, get reset, then make a different decision about what picture you see. So if I get cut there, I run back. If you just mindlessly go, fuck it, I'm going to run up, you've got to look quickly and go, right, first of all, where is everybody? Got to chase back in position. If they get fast ball, you're on toast again, and they get over the gain line again, and you're trying to react, and you try to find a bit of safety. And if you do get a turnover, the first reaction is to clear the lines because you're hanging, and it gives you a bit of time to buy that, to buy time. If you don't kick the ball in the right areas and you're fucking about in your own half, trying to play, and you get turned over or a penalty, you're making life a lot easier for the opposition. So all these changes that people want to make, so stop kicking, change the coach, change everything. I don't know what you think you're going to see.
Well, I think,
what is it? But tell me what they want to see.
So I'll tell you exactly what they want to see. They want to see what Scotland did. They want to see a willingness to give it a crack.
But I don't think
they did that. They did that last year.
Why it was so stark on Saturday is you had one. And the team that played the rugby lost, so we'll always take a result over a performance.
But do you think they're not understanding the pressure?
But that was the same the year before when England went up there. Yeah. They played all the rugby, but turned all the ball over. 3 turnover tries, Doohan scores a hat trick, and we lose.
That's what I mean.
So it's like I think it's just, I think you sort of summed it up quite well. It's a growing frustration of performances that have led to losses, and then whereas now we've sort of flipped it around and haven't really had performances that got wins.
They're ugly as well.
So you've got, but you've got to believe that it's going to come together at some point, because you've seen the potential that we have seen over the past sort of 6 months in terms of, yes, they keep messing up. Well, now they've won 2 second halves by just digging in, and now you hope you can find the game where you put them both together and you get a complete performance. But, you can't will that. It's down to them to do it.
So look at Scotland, right? So Scotland fucked the Six Nations, right? So they had a big moment in the first game. They lost against Ireland, right? Poorly. They came to England and started playing. I don't know what it's like being Scotland, being scrutinised, but, they've consistently played that style, had big moments, but flattered to deceive and actually won nothing for a period of time. Have won nothing, so it's great.
Well, they won the Calcutta Cup for the last 4 years.
Yes, I know, but just shit about the Calcutta Cup, really. I don't give a fuck about it.
But then you would also say,
the Scots do.
They were good for them.
Yeah, when they've been ranked higher than us.
Yeah,
so they should win.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. But what I don't understand about all of it is those teams are afforded that mentality to be able to do that. Do you think, being an England player at the moment, we are filled and enthused and with positivity from outside, from the media, from fans, to go out and chuck the ball around and have play? Because I'd say when you're in that temperament
I
moment
think
where
off the
we've
back of
barely
France,
lost,
you had it.
But no, but we didn't because we didn't. They dropped 5 balls to score. It was hardly walking around. If you did go out of that game thinking we're the shit, you're fucking deluded. You would have gone on to review that going, fuck me, we were pretty close to losing that game. We've got work to do, but we've got the monkey off our back.
Yep.
We're a bit of pressure. Let's go into Scotland. I wouldn't say we've created a conducive atmosphere to fucking lob the ball around, would you? I wouldn't say that we are really buoyed to have that kind of bit of fun. I think Scotland have to do that all the time, but they don't win anything apart from the Calcutta, which is fine. But we talk about Gregor Townsend going, has he taken this team as far as he can take it? The only teams that you can really sort of be super positive about are the ones who consistently win silverware. And I don't, England has had some bad patches, some good patches, but we've won some bits. We won some Six Nations, got to, quarter final of a World Cup. We got to a World Cup final. We do have big moments. I just don't think at the moment in that camp, you want to be the bloke that's going to run through and throw a miracle offload and everyone fucking boos. Because it's hardly like we're affording this team a bit of excitement. We've narrowly won. We're on to next week. We've narrowly won. Now, for fuck's sake, don't lose against Wales. Christ, because they're now coming back. Oh shit, we can lose against Italy. It's because Italy, Italy looking great. It's just pressure after pressure after
So the
pressure.
counter argument to that would be England are the best resource.
They
are the best resource union out there in terms.
But they're
of,
not. But I tell you, then we did a show with Bill Sweeney proving the fact that the clubs aren't joined up. That they actually
they are now under the PGP.
Oh,
Yeah, okay. 2 weeks.
come on, wipe your arse on that fucking thing. 2 weeks into it.
Look, I think we're sort of getting away from the point. I don't think you're ever going to... I think you make a point, Alex, in terms of the fans would like a complete all-round performance. Will that be enough if they get it in the next 2 games? No, they'll probably...
I think if they get in Cardiff, yes.
Yeah. If you go away in Cardiff, I think if they get one at home to Italy, I know Italy obviously got smashed on the weekend, but it's not a bad Italian side.
They look great
and
at some point.
It takes to play very well to go and put 70 points on them like France did at the weekend.
Yeah.
So, because I think, Italy are now good for 20 to 24 points, so you're going to have to go and score points against them. But they have to build on it. You've got to give them a chance to try and build on something. It's a momentum shift. I thought the bench were good again in terms of who came off and who did something. People will ask the question about Randall. I was quite excited because I thought Mitchell didn't have a great one of his usual games. He didn't really ignite the attack like he normally does, and he looked tired at bits. But I think I think again what he's asked to do defensively is wasting his energy. But that's not for me to make that decision. So I was actually quite happy when Randall came on. That I thought it was 10-all. Go and lift the pace of the game for this England team because that is where they're missing out. Now, there isn't a point in having Harry Randall on the bench if you're not going to let him do that, and you're not going to. Then everyone has to lift their carry rates. They're off the floor because he's going to move the ball at a quick night. He's not a Mitchell where he's going to necessarily run and play people into it. It is very much a 9-10, 9-10, 9-10, and then he might have a snipe and go himself. So it doesn't really fit into how Mitchell plays. So do you need to look at that and go, you need to complement...
Did you watch the England A game?
I saw Jack Van
Poortvliet looked
I saw
very
him.
good. Nice control.
But again, I don't really like Jack Van Poortvliet when he's played for England under that just box kicking sort of role. He slows the whole tempo down. This team has got great players throughout it who need to play at tempo. Ben Hill needs to play at tempo. Tom Willis needs to play at tempo. They need, and then you look at Lawrence, Slade, Tommy Freeman, Marcus. They need it where they can have disjointed defences that they can run at. They can run at seams, and that just didn't happen on the weekend. So they need to get back to being able to fundamentally play at a better pace, or you need to pick another 9 who's going to do what Mitchell does.
And also, I think giving Ted, giving Ted Hill
30 seconds.
30 seconds. He made 5 tackles, did anything, looked great. If you don't trust the guy, don't.
I think that was more of taking time out the clock just to make a sub.
Of course, but he actually had a really good impact. Cool. It was like he looked great when he came on. It's like, and I was like, if he's had such an athlete and you trust him, I don't know why you don't use him. Because what's the point? I never understood that. I know it might be like a tactical play, but he had a good impact. You either know whether you can trust him or not. Yeah. And I understand the game was very narrowly thinking you wouldn't hate for him to come on and give a penalty when over try. But yeah, no, I think
other positives. Freeman, problem fixing. We won.
Yeah.
Problem fixing. The second half much better.
Finn Smith again.
Yeah.
Kick under pressure, great. Tackling, I thought was good.
Yeah, he defensively he threw a shoulder in. Smashed Tom Jordan at one time.
Yeah. Ollie Chesham.
Ollie Chesham, I thought he did
massive
well.
engine.
Yeah,
he made the cover tackle on
did.
Staff
He
McDonald.
did do well.
Staff McDowell, excuse me. Should we play the what if Finn Russell had kicked it?
Yeah, we can do. We love that. We'll play what if you want, you know.
Yeah,
if
what
Finn
happens if your
Russell
mum was
kicks
your
it
dad?
and England lose, well,
What-
we'll leave that between us. But if Finn Russell kicks it, what conversation are we having?
Well, no, we're just having one where they just didn't get in the game. And
Fire
you'd
everyone.
say, I don't know whether you go that. I would say that you would be very much having a completely different conversation because they didn't fire any shots. You go, why didn't they fire any shots? Which I'm saying they'll be having those conversations like they lost. I would imagine that game because that's the best thing about winning one where you've nicked one. You can have those honest conversations, and you can really. They're not going to be going, "Oh yeah, we're a massive momentum roll now." Woo woo.
Yeah.
They're just not going to be doing that.
Our Continental Tires question of the week comes from Telegraph readers. Christian Pavey asks, I was at Twickenham and was disappointed to hear the crowd booing Finn Russell's late conversion attempt. The kind of reaction wouldn't have been common a few years ago. In your view, what has changed that has made a significant portion of the crowd feel this is now acceptable? There was a lot of booing. It reminds me of the Eddie Izzard booing.
It's the descent into chaos of society in general. Our moral
That is a profound
our
answer.
moral compass is skewed. Our boundaries and our chivalry are dead. And this is what, without rules and parameters and
it's crystallised in booing the goal
yeah,
kings
that's
at
what I mean.
Twickenham.
That's what it is. Like, moral fibre and fabric of society is falling apart, and we just think that's acceptable now. There's no manners, and everyone's on their phones all the time. That's what happens.
See, I can't really disagree with that.
That's true. You
But
can't.
I'm going to give a different answer. I think it was the nature of the game. I thought it was so emotional up and down. If anyone was in the crowd was watching it like I was on telly, and sometimes you don't think about that. They so wanted England to get that win and not lose in the last minute. And sometimes people make mistakes and don't think about what they're doing. And yet, it happens, unfortunately, in
I
sport.
also don't have a problem with people like in football. Where everyone just tries to put everyone.
I guarantee-
bar laser pens are throwing coins at your head. I don't
Yeah,
want to
I would say,
Really?
I guarantee there's not much going on in Finn Russell's mind at most of the time. I don't think he's worried about a few once a boo is collective and it's going, it's not a thing.
Yeah.
It's only if it's
one
like-
bloke just
Yeah,
You
yeah,
missed the kick.
exactly. Yeah, that is far more. I think if it's constant from the start, you don't notice it. There's noise all the time.
What does he
Wouldn't
say in
notice
Happy
it.
Gilmore when he misses it? He's like,
You will not make that putt, jackass, jackass.
That's a jackass, and that's if someone shouts jackass, you're screwed.
Will the England players have noticed the booing of Alex Mitchell's box kicking? Or are you just too head down bar getting on with it?
Notice. I never noticed.
I think you'll get a sense of it, but and some of them might be going, yeah, I fucking wish you passed me the ball. Yeah.
I don't think, again, people honestly, particularly Twickenham, people over egg the power of the crowd. Everyone, they do it honestly, like it's nice. Principality, as I've said many times and well documented, it actually has a role. Everyone goes, did you hear me cheering the crowd? It's like, no. Did it make a massive deal that they sing, swing, like, swing, out? No. It's a nice thing.
We're gonna hold that thought, we're gonna come on to that.
You could actually say that that lifted Wales on.
Yeah.
I mean, it was insane before.
But our crowd's never that great.
You, under the roof, fire, brimstone.
Yeah.
Oh, that place is amazing.
Everyone can sing.
You got the best out of that. Well,
You very nicely moved us on to the next game. So well done, Christian Pavey. Thank you very much indeed for your Continental Tires question of the week. To the Principality, the living, breathing stadium that it is. What did we learn about Wales?
pick your best players.
At the expense of getting ready for a World Cup in 28 months' time.
Yeah, because winning games helps drive everything else.
Playing the devil's advocate.
Or competing at least. And I think I listened to something where Warbs was Sam Warburton was just like, I want them to be competitive, and they were. And you could argue that like Scotland, they had more meters, more line breaks, more defenders beaten, but the nuggety defensive team that knows how to win got it done. Now it's a completely different story because we know how good Ireland are and how clinical they can be when they need to be. But they had an off day, and whether they took it lightly, whether the couple of changes that they made worked against them, but they still found a way to win.
I think you said Ireland by 30.
I did say Ireland by 30. And I still at half time thought that they would pull away.
So what was it that Wales did that shut Ireland's flow and mojo down?
It was like it was the same as what Scotland. They had all the ball, and it is hard when you are under the sort of cosh, and even Ireland, who are a well-versed, well-coached understands situational awareness, they found it hard to deal with it. So, you compare that to England, it is difficult. They managed it by box kicking the ball away a lot of time and kicking the ball away.
Can we do some short, sharp opinion bullet pointing? Do Ireland win the game if it's a straight red card for Gary Ringrose, given how influential Bundy Aki was? Do we like the 20-minute red card?
I was actually happy for the 20-minute red card, to be honest. I don't like the idea that would Wales have won it? Who knows? You never know. Sometimes it might galvanise as a team, but I actually quite like if it suits the crime, then I do actually quite like it.
Okay.
If it's I still think there is a place for a straight red when it's.
So why was it not a straight red?
Because it wasn't
Timing rather
out
than-
violence.
Right.
I mean, I always think straight red, like red for me is like head. Again, you've got to ask yourself, like, why would anyone run head on head to anybody? Like that's what I don't understand. You have a rule of safety to the player. I understand that, but you get shit wrong. No one's going to ever volunteer to run face to face with someone else. Like you'd have to be an idiot. Like what I think straight red is, is violence, is a massive late tackle off the ball, is deliberately running into someone. When it's a head on head, it's still all an accident. Whether it was the intent or the player's got to do better, I understand that. You've got to ask why he ran up at that height. But again, I took Jay Roberts' head off. I genuinely thought at the time I was running lower and I was going to get it right. I still to this day don't understand why I
did that game. I remember that.
Yeah, I thought, why didn't I bend from the hips? I thought I was doing it. You watch it, you're like, well, that was awful. I watched it back. I was like, I've killed him. I was like, this is awful. But I would never do that. I like Jamie Roberts. It was just carelessness, and I think fortunately sport is full of those careless moments. So I think we talked enough about games not being ruined and allowed to have a player on. We can't backtrack, so I'm on board with it.
That would have been a travesty if that had been a full red card and they lose the game off the back of that. His knee's nearly on the floor when he makes contact with his head.
Yep.
And there's no real impact going through it.
Ellis Mee, part of a All Scarlets Welsh back three. Actually, interestingly, Ellis Mee, I think, was playing in a championship with Nottingham last year. But his no try. Is it time to start a campaign whereby the TMO can only watch replays in adjudicating decisions in real time? Or is that a ridiculous proposition? Yeah.
You're saying you can't do slow-mos. No, I don't.
Because I think if you play that Ellis Mee on repeat in real time, you give a try.
Yeah.
I think if you hyper slow-mo it down and go frame by frame, you see things that actually physics.
Yes. And also, half never played the game. So you can't. It's like asking.
I'm not sure that's necessarily.
Well, it is because how do you? They've got no experience of having any understanding of what it's like. You're just judging everything with no emotion, no decision. Like they should be allowed to go one phase back. They should only be.
Them having no emotion about it.
No, but they should be allowed to go one phase back.
Yeah.
They should have to watch it in real time, and they should only be allowed to speak up if they're fucking asked. Otherwise, shut your mouth and let the game flow. And if you miss it, you miss it. And that's the end of the game. Otherwise, you're just like a nanny state. It's like Big Brother. It's utterly pointless. I know that would change the dynamic of the whole game. And even then, I just don't understand.
Maybe you split it out then. So I think I'm right in saying the Ellis Mee decision on field was a try.
It was, yes.
Therefore, perhaps if the decision on field is try, you only watch it in real time. And if it's no,
why do you even watch it? Just do it. He goes, give and try, just do it. Go. That's it. Decision sport. I just don't. I just think rugby does not need that because again, we said it from the show. Is that you can find the incident, every single breakdown, every single part of play that you could go back and have a go at. Yeah. So the game doesn't flow. So forget that as a premise. One phase, fast time, only if asked, and no snitching.
That's not what we're talking about with the Ellis Mee. It's when he put the ball short. And
but it rolled over his hand still touching it. Is that allowed? What's that? That's momentum, is that not?
Well,
but the on-field decision was try.
Yeah. So you shouldn't be allowed to join.
And I think I still think if you play it through at full speed, you probably still award a try.
Oh yeah, you would in full speed. But,
so that's my point.
But
then.
it's a try. Yeah, but it's a try scoring, active try scoring. When you slow it down, it's not a try. You can see it.
But why is that not a try? Because it roll goes forward.
Why
in his hand.
He loses control. And then
but he doesn't. His hand over comes off it.
Yeah, it does.
But you are playing the game in real time. You're not playing the game in slow motion.
You sure?
And if in real time you think it's a try, and in a real time replay you think it's a try,
I don't mind. But then you've got to do all of them, and then you're going to have some howlers at the same time.
That's fine. But I think that's sport. Howlers. I mean, how did Neil Back get away with that against that in that European knocking the ball out of his hand to scrum?
Stringer. I mean, they barely had cameras there, let alone
That's what
TMO.
I mean. But the point is that Maradona's hand of God. Sport is littered with these big moments of people getting away.
Can you
Do
imagine
really
all
wanna-
the iconic moments of sport
It
that would have
all
been
be
ruled out
all
by
be ruled-
VAR?
That's what I mean. It all would have gone. It all would have gone, and we wouldn't have any stories or anything. It would all that kind of moment would have gone. Like Jeff Hurst, that got or the goal before in the World Cup final when it did cross the line, did it not?
66.
That would have been ruled over. 66 World Cup, that would have been ruled out, or potentially not.
Hand
we don't
back,
know.
Maradona.
Maradona. Cheating is part of sport. Getting away with stuff is part of sport.
Cheat more kids.
cheating,
It's good for you.
pushing the boundaries.
Pushing the boundaries. Do you really want to be in a sport where everything's sanitized? Because the problem with it is where do you draw the line? It's like, like everything in life, your reliance is on people to make a judgment call and good people doing the jobs. And unfortunately, not everyone's good at their job. And secondly, I just don't think it helps the game going back because, and especially not in a physical sport where you could find, I reckon if I sat down in one of them Norse trucks and watched the game, I reckon I could 100% find foul play almost at every breakdown or something that you could, by the letter of the law, would be a card or an issue or a penalty. Instead, if you understand...
Can we get a Norse truck mocked up?
Norse truck.
Yeah. Can we go to a game in a Norse truck?
just
Like
go
the
to the Norse
Ghostbusters
truck?
or the
but
A-Team?
but if you understand that, and then you go, do you know what? Because again, it's the difference between the people who've played the game who understand the game, or the people who read about the game, study the game, and learn about the game by not being involved in it. And if you do everything by the letter of the law, there's faults everywhere. If you take and understand that it is a contact sport with bit nuance to it and other bits, then see it as such, but make the parameters in such a way that they cannot be called upon. Like you can't snitch every 5 minutes. You can't get involved. It's like I watched the game the other day. It's the bloke kept getting involved. It's like shut up in your little box of shame. Nobody's called upon you. Mind your own business. Like nobody's talked about it. And that's what
Can
I
we
don't
mock
get.
up the Norse team?
The Norse team.
I'd be
Team Norse.
Face, you'd be Howling Mad Murdoch, and you could be Hannibal Smith.
Murdoch.
I think the campaign starts here for real-time replays only for active try scoring.
I just watched the
head
replays
collisions.
on the replay, the angles that they showed on the replay. Then you would say it was a try.
Yeah, so I told you.
So it's only the side on one, but that's where the NFL do it so well. Is they have one camera, high definition, down the line, so they can see.
But also,
everything.
we don't have to call it a review because someone will flag it and then they review it. No one comes in and goes, "Excuse me, I don't think you got that down."
All touchdowns are under review.
Oh, are they? Oh, really? Ooh, I didn't know that. Proved me
Okay,
wrong.
so should we ask the question, how dangerous are Wales now for Scotland and England?
Well, they're just teeing up for England perfectly.
It really is. I mean, we called it 2 weeks ago, to be fair.
Yeah.
We said the storm is
you
brewing.
Can, it's gonna. I mean, you can see it happening now, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, if I was Borthers, I wouldn't extend a rental on the house. I wouldn't borrow a book from a library. I wouldn't. Yeah. I wouldn't buy anything that goes out of date over 2 weeks.
Not right now.
Yeah.
It is 80 minutes to
Don't
salvage the
change
pride
your
of a nation.
postcode too yet. Yeah.
Scotland before that.
Yeah, I'd be interested. I mean, Scotland obviously will feel.
Scotland actually got to win that.
Yeah, they do. Oh,
They've gotta win
100%. They're under a lot of pressure now. The thing is with Scotland, as we've talked about, is they sort of know their DNA in terms of how they want to play, which involves them pinging the ball around. So you're going to see that, but then that could also play into an energised Welsh hands as well. So I think it's a vital game for both of them. I think Wales have the grace of a performance finally, so the country will be excited to see them play next time.
Yeah.
Whereas Scotland are under a massive amount of pressure. Back to back, a poor performance against Ireland, a performance that you could say was better in patches against England, but still not great. And a game that they should have won that they've now lost in a fixture that they haven't lost in a long time. So yeah, it's a massive game for them. Massive game for Gregor.
Massive game for Gregor. Just a nod to Ireland as well. I mean, to find yourself in a bit of a hole as they were in the Principality, which we've said is a living, breathing 12th man.
Bundyaki, what a warrior.
But that is the sign of a proper team to get yourself out of an emotional cauldron like that with a 20-minute red card and with everything. Everyone has a plan until they get in the face.
That's the difference with a team. I think that's cohesive experience has been to the well and come back with a win and knows when to turn it on and it has the composure. It doesn't panic.
Don't panic.
Don't panic. Yeah. You know what's interesting? I saw Eddie Jones for another podcast. I don't remember the names. Even if I did, I wouldn't tell you. And he was talking about who are the most successful international teams and who are the ones that don't play with that much emotion or are emotional at key times. And he said South Africa, All Blacks, Ireland, And so those top 3 teams potentially are the ones that now everyone kicked off and they always play with emotion. I don't play with emotion. No, it's a different emotion. Emotional drivers to put a performance on there, but the ability to stay calm and think clearly under pressure
doesn't change your thinking.
Yeah, it doesn't change your thinking, because Eddie believed that, for example, after big moments, injuries, HIAs, tries, it's the team that comes out the other side of those moments with a cool head and consistency that can raise the energy, but without becoming fraught, are the ones that are going to win. And I think that, and I think Ireland are a perfect example of that, because it's very easy as a player to try to solve things on yourself. So if you give a catastrophic error, or you drop the ball, or you do something, your first reaction is do more, try harder. Actually, in a moment like that, it's believe in the plan, consolidate, have a moment, stay cool, play what's in front of you, and that's what they did.
So did you hear Ben Earl saying on, I think it was the post-match in France, he said, it was O2 Inside Line, and there was a half-time team talk post in the France game where they were all talking about the big second 40 minutes, and he actually said, hang on, it's not 40 minutes, it's 41 minutes. And if we're feeling out of control, someone take a knee and let's just get back to what we're going to do for the next 1, 2, 3 minutes. And I thought it was very interesting in the second half against Scotland, there was a lot of players on knees. At one point, there was 3 of them sort of, and I think it worked for him. It was that sort of almost put your foot on the ball type thing, just take a breath.
Yeah. Well, it's been around, Kit Kat's been around for God knows how long.
Every time a prop goes down, someone's had a call, going, have a rest, fat lad.
It is part of it, managing that. And, it's the same thing as having, whether it's next job or, the All Blacks always talked about stamping their feet, didn't they?
Yeah.
And
back in the moment.
It's having a way that works for you, that you just drop your emotion of shit, we're under stress, and go, right, next job is, and my role within that is.
Yeah. Okay. How good were France?
Exceptionally good. But making it look simple, like the game, how it should be. Just people running straight lines. And then Antoine Dupont, step, someone running straight line. There you go, there's the ball. Scoring to the post.
Why did France produce that in the Rome sunshine on Sergio Paris's big day when they were so off the ball against? I mean, that is the nature of the beast, but that is a hell of a swing in 2 weeks.
Yeah, look, I think you've also got what I know. Then people dig out the stats on it happens too many times or whatever. But, you can have a day off the boil, and it's just whether you can get that win. And, France didn't get that last week when they could have easily.
And do you know what? Sometimes what should come on what should land on your plate and everything else, like sometimes those moments where you break and you go, especially with Dupont, it was really easy to just catch. It wasn't the greatest pass to him, but you catch that 9 times out of 10, 9.5 times out of 10. You just drop it. Sometimes when it's on a plate or these forced or these moments should happen, it's sort of you just don't get them. I think against Italy, obviously, Italy got that Limoncello got that first.
Limoncello.
No, I like limoncello.
You like limoncello? Okay.
Limoncello's got that first try, and Italy looked great. And you think, France can have the wheels off here.
That Breck's try was
with ball back inside.
You see those moments, and you think, wow, Italy are a quality side. What was very interesting about France was they just turned up and got over the gain line, and it's like a very different game when you're physically getting over the gain line. And unfortunately, Italy are a very good team, and actually I really enjoy watching them. I really want to see Italy do well. I think, before they had a couple of plucky players. These guys are some serious operators that play very well. I just, unfortunately, when you're playing against a powerhouse against France, they just kept losing the gain line. Every, the pick and go tries, the forwards went through them. That the French fullback Barre, he's obviously a big lump, went through a couple of times, and it just meant that once they got the momentum, they were very difficult to stop. And I think that's what a fundamental international rugby at the moment is, getting from A to B in a straight line as quickly as possible and as physically as possible, because there isn't a lot of space. As soon as you start doing that, it then puts so much pressure on other defences that you can't, other areas of defence that you're going to cut them apart.
Here's a stat. France 27 offloads compared to Italy's 4. England had 3. Wales had 12. Ireland had 7.
But why can you do that? Because you've got over the gain line. That's because it's over the gain. It is. I promise to God, it's.
But England had gain line success.
Yeah, but then we sometimes did offload. We had some big.
We had 3.
Yeah, but still, we probably made 3. How many line breaks?
I think we missed a lot of offloads because we were already pre-cleaning.
Yeah. because we shit ourselves about losing the ball. But it's
So
also how
too
we're
worried
coached.
about, we think about losing the ball rather than going, well, what happens if the offload happens?
But that's what Eddie. I remember Eddie said. He goes, players don't fight in contact. He goes, the Vinopola brothers are the only guys in the England side that would leg drive and fight after contact. I think Tom Willis does. Hence, he gets over the game line.
Does.
Ben Earl does.
Yeah, Ben Earl does. But English players, in a general rule, are coached to hit contact, go down, and don't fight drive. Ardy Sevilla for the All Blacks fights heavily after contact, goes through. The French players, I think, just by sheer size, were getting over the gain line. We always talked about if you had like one player and one bullet. So if I go to tackle Tins, I want to tackle Tins. One player from his opposition goes into breakdown. One from my goes, and we're fighting. If one goes in from them and three of mine go in, and we counter ruck, we slow the ball, and it's a shit fight. Look at that number of players from the opposition on that floor. Because if you've managed to send 2 in and you've got 4 on the floor, somewhere you're missing defenders, you go again, you stress them and get over the gain line. Suddenly you've got 3 on the floor there, then you start scoring tries. It's when you go one-off runners into one-off people, and you're not costing the team anywhere. That's where teams shit their pants and just kick. It's basically what you've got to do. And we don't. Some teams do it very well, but France did that every time they got a ball with Italy. They got them over the gain line, cost them players on the floor, and then one-on-ones, it's game over.
And what it has done, that enormous French win, is mean that the points difference, I know Ireland are obviously unbeaten, but France plus 91, Ireland plus 28, England minus 3 in terms of teams still in the hunt for the championship. So the French press have labelled Dublin's showdown, Ireland-France, as the final. That is going to be... We're going to get into much more detail next week, actually, but that is going to be an occasion.
Sends shivers down your spine, doesn't it?
I so hope it lives up to the billing. I think it can quite easily. What France have got to be worried about, France love the chaos, but they went to Ireland last time and it was chaotic and they ended up coming up on the losing side of it. So
what happens if they, what would be the best case scenario? They draw.
No, France win.
France win if they draw.
Well, it depends who you're talking about.
Say England beat Wales,
they get 10 points
Wales
for
and
the
Ireland.
next 2 games.
Yeah. And then they draw, and it's only like a 3-all draw. Do we win the Six Nations?
So if England get 10,
no, because
if England get 10 points, over the next 2, they're on 20.
Ireland would still
with
win
a
it.
draw will still have 16, and then they'll have 1 game.
Okay, so is there any way England can win it?
They'd need to score a lot of points against Italy and in Cardiff.
Right.
And for France to beat
the
Ireland
best
by
way
a
is
point
France
and
to
then lose
win
to
without
Scotland.
giving Ireland a bonus point, and that will put them on 15, and then we win with a bonus point.
So what you're saying
I think
is
we're
there's
into
a
the
chance.
slightly hopeful mathematics at this
This is
point.
what I'm about, though.
Yeah.
I want.
You never know.
I want
You never
irrationality.
know.
I want to be.
But I think that's a good thing for the England mentality is to go out and go, we've got fucking scored a shitload of points.
And we lose.
And we lose. We go back to the exciting performance, but lost.
And then everyone goes, and you lost, and you shit, you overplayed, you offloaded too much.
Yeah. There was an interesting article, I think I can't remember who wrote it, saying Galtier's wasting a golden generation. You got very cross with me for bringing that up a couple of weeks ago. The article off the back of the Italy win was France 2.0 is here, and it looks very much like it's going to stay.
In 2 weeks. Amazing.
But some young kids coming through. I mean, when you're not picking Damien Payno...
But we've known this. The French third team played England, and they were the Barbarians, the French third team Barbarians, and hammered England.
Yeah.
So we know how strong France is down the depth chart. So,
Having said that, good win for England, over Ireland, at Ashton Gate.
Really good.
Now, we're extremely proud to say that ahead of the tour this summer, we have teamed up with the principal partner of the British and Irish Lions and our favourite global insurance brokers, Howden. Howden will be helping ensure greatness for our boys in red out in Australia. Before we get into the Lions Watch itself, who got overexcited and ran out of the live room because Andy Farrell walked past on Saturday afternoon? It's Faz.
Andy, we're rugby friends.
What did he have to say to you?
I saw him and I hadn't spoken to him for a while.
Did he ask you if you wanted a photo? Where do you want me to sign? Oh, it's
he
you.
signed over my forehead while I was still talking to him. He's like, all right. He's like, all right, kid, what's your name, man?
You think he signed?
Andy,
He actually drew something else on and then wandered off to the corporate bars.
No, it was lovely to see him. He was with his daughter, daddy-daughter day out. I was checking to see how Owen was going. Andy was great, looking sharp. Big man. Gave him a hug. He says there's a lot of sort of power, a lot of depth.
That is
He's
two
Man of
mighty
Steel, mate.
oaks.
Twice I was Man of Steel. I'm excited to see how it goes. I think it's must be amazing to be alive.
Do you pop a business card? Do you remember Andy Nicol got hauled off the Harbour Bridge on a supporters tour and got stuck on the bench at the end of the third test in 2001? Do you think if you just pop your business card in his top pocket?
Do you honestly think there's any way? You've seen me try to walk.
How long do you think? If the call came, how long could you give Andy Farrell in a line?
I don't think I'd pass a drug test. I'm joking. I honestly don't think I'd. I don't think I'd get through a training session.
No, I'm not asking you to do a training session.
Oh,
I'm
if you
asking
called
you
me
to
out,
give
I'd
yeah,
last.
one pair of boots, one jockstrap, 2 socks, pair of shorts and a shirt.
It's 5 for 10 minutes.
Do you think you could do 10 minutes? I don't think you could do 10 minutes.
Are you serious? I could limp into position. I'd still bang someone. That I just wouldn't be very dynamic. I get on off the floor. Do you know what? I'm back doing box training. Get on and off the floor. Well, I just can't.
Same spot.
Same spot.
So the game would have to come to you.
Yeah, I'll be like a roundabout. Yeah.
Could you all come over here,
Yeah.
please?
Go on, chats. I'll fight you just over here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think it'd be great. I honestly, I wouldn't accept it. I'd be like, do you know what? How much I'd love to do this. I can't physically do this anymore.
Tins?
You had this conversation with Johnny Wilkinson. How long would you have to give yourself to reckon you could play in a Premiership match?
And?
We said 6 weeks.
Do you think?
He would. It's Johnny Wilkinson.
Yeah, it's Johnny Wilkinson.
He like sleeps in a hyperbaric chamber. He's like
8 weeks full professional training.
Do you reckon Johnny could still do a job?
I think the speed of the players now would be the biggest issue.
Apparently Finn Smith said Johnny Wilkinson is still a better goal kicker than him.
I would have no doubts about that. He still kicks for an hour a day.
Yeah, which is cool. Boop. Let it go, bro.
Right, time for our Howden Lions Watch, where we'll discuss who we think will be on the plane come June. Michael, your position of choice this week, please.
Am I allowed to pick a position? Or
You
would
can pick
like
a position.
Me to
You
go
can pick a
something off
player.
the
You can
brief?
do what
We
you
go
like.
So would you like to go fullbacks or would you like to go centres?
Fullbacks.
Okay. So I think Kinghorn is an exceptional talent at the moment. I was actually watching Full Contact the other day about last year, and they played a whole episode around whether he should play, and he had a bad game against Italy and they ended up losing. But at the moment, he's one of the heartbeats of that back three, and he really gets everyone moving. And like with Hugo Keenan, he didn't play at the weekend, slight injury, and there's a bit of who's going to actually start there for Ireland when they're fit. I think with Furbank away, I don't think Marcus Smith is going to be the option for the Lions at fullback. So I don't think we've really got someone pushing out there. So I think it's...
Would you say it's a problem position at the moment?
No, I don't think so. I think so, as in with injuries at the moment, yes. But I don't think it is come when they pick the tour. I don't think anyone's going to have a problem with picking Hugo Keenan. I think they roll off the tongue. I would take Furbank. You could actually take Tom Jordan as well. The way he played in the autumn at fullback was insanely good. But Kinghorn, Keenan, and then Furbank. I think you've got three that roll off the tongue. If you need to take three, they might not take three. They'll just have what costs couple can cover wing anyway.
Blair Kinghorn, I like it. James, coming in off the long run, your contribution to this week's Howden Lions Watch.
I can't look any further than second rows, Alex. I think Maritoji's really put his hand up. I think, obviously, potentially for captaincy, maybe. That was more the spin I was going to put on it. We've also...
Do you think if he wins them both, they'll put him as captain?
Yeah, I think so. I think, I just think Kane and Doris is the shoe-in. We've talked about it. Do you know what I'd like to talk about? Flipping Will Rowlands for Wales. I thought he was great. I used to be at Wasp with him. Bread Dog. Got a group chat a bit wrong.
Bread Dog?
Oh, because he was asked to put something into a group, misjudged the group, misunderstood what we were asking, and then just post a picture of a small dog with its face for a piece of bread. So lads nicknamed him Bread Dog, and it's permanently stuck.
Would he be a good tourist?
I think he's a good tourist. He's a good man, very cerebral, very intelligent. 3 blues at Oxford. Very smart cookie, good looking, great head of hair.
Good jawline.
All great credentials to get you on a Lions tour. Okay, so we're going with Blair Kinghorn and Will Rowlands.
No, Maritoji potentially is.
I'm not sure that's breaking
more for
news.
captaincy, but okay. Will Rowlands.
But you've got to pick two, haven't you? So,
yeah,
but we're picking one at a time, are we?
Yeah,
Will Rowlands for the Lions.
Yeah,
you've gone out on a limb. Blair Kinghorn, and would you actually Will Rowlands or Maritoji?
Maritoji, I think, but more of a captain role because I think it was a shoe-in to go anyway.
Interesting.
And a special mention to Daft Jenkins and Bread Dog.
I'm going to pick a prop. I'm actually going to go... I actually thought both of England's props played really well.
I think Will Stewart has done well through the whole tour.
I actually think Will Stewart might well be forcing his way not just as a line, but into a test line.
Big call.
Do you think?
Nice. Yeah,
Nice.
I don't
Cool.
disagree.
No, I mean,
there's a lot of rugby still to go,
Exciting.
but I think the way he's playing...
He's a good kid as well, Bixby.
Tyke Furlong's injured. I just think Stewart's stock is rising fast.
I don't disagree with you.
So let's stick Will Stewart in as well, joining Blair Kinghorn and Maritoji as potential captain, joining James Lowe, Jamison Gibson Park, Sam Prendergast, Jack Morgan, Rory Darge, and Tom Curry as potential hot pick Lions. We obviously can't wait to see how the rest of the Lions selection debate rolls out across the course of the Six Nations. And whether it's insuring your local rugby club, your business, big or small, or what matters most in your life, home, car, travel, or health, when Howden has your back, you can achieve great things. And you can now have your say on who has stepped up to make the hashtag Lions 2025 squad. Pick 3 crucial team selections, captain, first pick and wild card, for a chance to be at the first 2 tests in Australia, courtesy of Howden. Pick your team in the link in the episode description box. Do get involved in that and we may well see you out there. One final note, I have one final question for you lads. If you were ensuring team morale, which one Lion, past or present, would you select for the locker room come July? Team morale as an all-time great Lions tourist.
Me.
You'd like to ensure yourself as
Yes.
team morale officer?
I was great.
Do you think you
Yes.
when your Lions call came?
Yes.
Genuine question. How much do you think it was down to your camaraderie generation? You know, when they're sort of, if you were doing Rugby 25 cards,
Yes.
speed and agility, handling, oof, versatility, yeah.
Yeah.
Morale officer,
I am just a bloody good lad for a tourist, and I entertain and keep people amused. And I don't know how much that went into, but Gats knew me to be the man I was, and also very dedicated and focused. A big juxtaposition to the outlandish meathead you see in front of yourself of the life and soul of the party. I was also very, very professional. One of the most professional. So
the first game we've ever played where you've actually selected yourself.
I have. Well, I just think I would be great.
I think others would
Okay.
nominate you as well.
Yeah.
But on another note, it said captain, first pick, and wild card in that link. Here's a wild card for you. If Tom Curry limping off, Henry Pollock get a call up for the next 2 games?
For the Six Nations.
Yeah.
I
And
like
then
it.
has 2 blinders. Give him a run.
Oh wow, you're going bolter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that is
That's great.
I will. That is definitely a wild card.
There's something about him that I really like. He's just energy.
Shall we just start before we go Henry Pollock for the Lions, which is, I mean, that hype train is out of control already. But would you do Henry Pollock against Italy if Tom Curry is injured, Tom Willis? I mean, hopefully they're both back fit, but stick him on the bench?
Yeah, I would
20
quite
minutes?
like to see Ted Hill have a run. So whether there's a spot for him on the bench or whatever, I don't.
Maybe a 7-1 split.
I said Ted Hill looked great when he came on. I was very excited. He's a big unit. I've not really seen him.
He's quick as
I
well. I
know.
know Johnny May's always
He just got stuck into
May's-
tackles. Yeah.
Johnny May is always saying he's quicker than most backs. Isn't he?
Yeah. Henry Pollock for...
He's
Lions
not quite
case on
going
the
in the
bench.
Lions in the
Yet.
Howden Lions selection
No.
quite
No.
yet.
No.
But
Well, do you reckon a secret that Andy Farrell will actually pick Jack Willis? Is he allowed to?
He's allowed to, but I reckon
How's
Toulouse will be in
Courtney
the
playing?
top
Would he pick
14.
Courtney?
I think Prodi 2 is
Yeah,
a big
it's a
stretch.
far
And I'm not
stretch.
sure Brever ripping up trees, but
Okay.
I could be completely wrong. You never say never. You've obviously got more. I do think the value of experience
I just wondered.
is becoming more and more prominent when you look at what Jamie and Elliot have done.
But do you wonder what big courts like? Whether you know, is there anyone that in the current back row that would play that big courts when he was on form for Northampton last year?
The question is on form. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I don't know
what the
either.
answer to
I know
that
he
is.
started ridiculously strongly for Breve, but then he's had an injury, I think. So.
Yeah.
Lots more speculation to come
Yeah.
as we
It
progress
will
towards
only
the
it
Lions
will
tour.
only ramp. It will
That's
never.
that's the greatest pub game on earth. As you can imagine, though, we would ramble on and on if it weren't for our team calling time on us every week. But that is all about to change thanks to our new partners at Watches of Bath. Whether you're looking to purchase, part exchange, or sell your timepiece, Watches of Bath has you covered, Hask.
And it's thanks to Watches of Bath that every month we'll be putting one lucky grassroots player to the test, all in the name of winning a cash prize of up to £5,000.
Did you say £5,000?
I did say £5,000, Michael, helping to take their club to the next level or have the social of a decade.
The contestants and their glamorous assistant will need to identify up to 6 mystery rugby players based only on the clubs they have represented in their career. So if you think you have what it takes, please head to the link in the episode description and fill in the entry form with your club's name and details for your chance to win. Please get your entry in by midnight on the evening of Sunday, March 2nd to be in the draw.
All entries have to be UK based, and it has to be money that's going to be used for the club, not personal use.
No,
I'm afraid it does. The T's and C's stipulate, and we must be beholden to them. Remember, Watches of Bath is for all rugby fans. Head to wobgroup.co.uk and you can win hospitality at the Allianz Stadium, the Principality, and Murrayfield. So go and have a little look at that, should you choose. Can we quickly, just before we wrap up this week's show, have 2 minutes on the latest...
Another legal case. you've
Another
won.
legal case
Oh.
involving the three of us, but one that we've come out triumphant in.
Yes, indeed.
Michael.
Well, We won't go too massively into it, but let's
think we
just
should.
say the award-winning Black Eye Gin that's got 95 out of 100 at the San Francisco
Thanks for asking.
Gin Awards. We don't want to talk about it, and gives £1.50 of every bottle sold back to our great game to support the players
Generous.
who play it. And yes, we all are about giving. But someone seemed to write in and decide that Black Eye Gin was quite an aggressive name, a little bit too aggressive for this world. But fortunately, the censors that be...
The judges, the juries, and the
the
executioners.
It's not only a victory for Black Eye Gin against the
Pub
complainants and the pub bore and the cancel culture and the saddos that have got to spend time. It is also a win against common sense, against good humour.
common sense.
It's a win for common sense, for good humour. It
Yes.
puts the complainants back in the box. It shows that just because you write in and you don't say, I don't like something, it makes you feel sad, everyone just goes, shut your mouth, shut your mouth, toughen up, grow up. And we won. We ruined you, and that's the end of your game. You saddo, whoever that was.
Gracious in victory.
No,
and
we're not.
noble
We're
in
not.
defeat.
We're not. It was 1-0 to us. Unlucky. Get another hobby. Thank you.
Remember, the name came from a sledge hitting
Yeah.
someone in the eye.
Yeah.
That is how it came.
Yeah, exactly.
Accidentally.
It was accidental. There's no violence incited. We haven't done anything wrong. You tried your best. You failed.
We've ridden another storm. Let's
Yeah,
go
we
celebrate
have.
the sunshine.
I'm now going to try and sell Black Eye Gin off the back of the tirade, but we are, as Mike mentioned, trying to raise as much money as possible to support rugby players, both past and present, by donating £1.50 from every bottle sold. And interestingly and excitingly, if you haven't got
Give the
involved...
offer.
Oh, well, why didn't you do it? You offer up.
Well,
offer it up.
At the moment, our good friends at Waitrose, there is £6 off.
Yeah.
And we're still giving the £1.50 of each bottle. So if you head over to Waitrose Cellar, you'll be able to find it for the bargain price of £30, but £1.50 of that is still going into the Black Eye Rugby Fund.
Please do go and get involved. WaitroseCellar.com to order your Black Eye Gin today. It goes incredibly well with the rugby over the next
Do you
few
know what
weeks.
we would never incite violence. What we do is incite good times, fun, responsible drinking, entertainment, award-winning gin and charity, all encompassed in a sick branded bottle with an unbelievable
Can one
liquid.
incite charity?
Yes, they can.
They
We're
can.
encouraging people to give
Right.
while enjoying something. That's the ultimate thing in life.
I would say, given that we're trying to do something positive in the
Yes.
world, I'm very glad
Yes.
that we have managed to avoid jail on this
Yeah,
occasion and are allowed to carry on our
absolutely
crusade.
destroyed the fundamental questions we
just
had against us.
breathe
No,
in through your nose and out through your mouth,
we're
yes.
not breathing. We've done you.
Keep
We've done you,
calm.
and we're coming for you again.
Please don't forget to subscribe to The Lock-In, £3.99 per month. Get your audience questions in using info@goodbadrugby.com. And we've had a review. a rare nice one.
What a review
Do you
from
want to read it?
Cornwall MC. Well, Cornwall MC says, real and refreshing. I have been a lock-in subscriber since the start, and in a world where people are scared to say things, I love the way all three of them just say what they like. Never change the formula, guys.
Amen to you, Cornwall MC.
They do try to censor me a lot, though. Just to let you know, I'm highly redacted and edited. I'm being coerced here. I'm not speaking on my own free will.
blink-
I'm like a prisoner of war.
Blink twice. Blink twice.
They make me say things.
We're
and
actually
agree
going to
with
release
things.
another subscription, which is called The Knock-In, involving Hask, which
Very-
is all
yeah.
the offcuts from
Yeah.
the show,
Yeah.
and you have to pay a lot of money because it ain't
It's
going
a
to
lot
get
of
much
money.
of a series.
It's $4,000 a month for the knock-in.
Yeah. The Knock-In with
But
James
honestly,
Haskell.
they don't let me speak freely. I'm not the man I was. I've been highly sanitized, and I'm disappointed by that.
Yeah, but you've still got money coming in,
I have
and you've
actually,
got a
yeah.
house and a roof over your
Yeah.
head, so just
Yeah, it's got a
enjoy the
gun, yeah.
support while you can.
Yeah, it's okay.
This Father's Day, Sunday the 15th of June, give your dad a present he'll never forget, because we're off to Hampton Court Palace Festival for a Good Bad Rugby Live. Good luck editing Hask at that one. You can get your tickets now at hamptoncourtpalacefestival.com. We would love to see you there. And speaking of dads, Tom Armitage, your father Dan has been in touch. He told us about your injury playing for Brighton under-16s, and we just want to say we're thinking of you. The very best of luck for your surgery on the 27th, and we can't wait to hear you're back on your feet soon. So big love to you, Tom, from all of us here at the
Good
pod.
luck, Tom.
Good
Well
luck,
done,
Tom.
Tom.
Good luck with him. G Brands is back as well, and James O'Connor is a
Boom.
new
New signing.
Yeah, it's good.
Wow,
isn't it?
that's good.
New regular guest on
He's got
G
some
Brands.
stories.
He's got some great
I
stories.
remember when he first broke onto the rugby scene. I'd never seen the impact of a young player like
Yeah.
it when he played against Australia A. I was in that. I think it was on
I
the
think he had
bench.
60 caps when he was 23
Yeah, it
or
was
something.
mental.
Absolutely
He scored
unreal.
3 tries on his debut for that Australia A. I'd never seen him before. And he was
Yeah.
sensational.
He is now playing for the Crusaders. He's giving some good value to G Brands as well, and that is a must listen, of course, ahead of the Lions tour to Australia. A reminder, you can now watch the full podcast on Spotify as well as on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review and follow us on social media for the latest rugby updates. Thank you as always for tuning into The Good, The Bad and The Rugby in partnership with Continental Tyres, our go-to for premium tyres. Whether on the rugby field or the road, safety always comes first. And also, unlike this show, Continental Tyres are award-winning. We are a folding pocket production. Have a very good week. We'll see you again in 7 days' time. And this episode was produced by Tom Edwards. Bye for now.
You've been listening to The Good, Yay, The Bad, and The Rugby, Oof, with Alex Payne, James Haskell, and Mike Tyndall. Thanks for listening.
How long do you think, if the call came, how long could you give Andy Farrell in a live
I don't think I'd pass a
deciding
drug test. I'm joking.